And we are live. Hey, Concrete.
Hey girl, what's going on?
Girl, it's a day. How's your weekend going?
Too short. I need a day in between the weekend and Monday.
Girl, tell me about it. Tell me
I
about
feel
it.
like I don't have a chance to get everything done that I need to do.
Oh, I've been
But
there.
such is life.
Right,
How
right.
was how was your weekend?
Too short. Very, very
Hmm.
short. It seems like it was Friday afternoon yesterday. And
Hmm.
it's like Friday afternoon and Sunday. Here we are.
Hmm. That's how I feel, and it's been, I'm busy at work too, so I'm like, busy at home, busy at work, and I'm like, okay, I need a rest day somewhere in between, but soon enough.
Yeah, I understand.
It's beautiful though. It's nice. I'm like, I wish I could sit outside on my deck and do the show, but I'm so loud. I'm like, I'll just sit inside. But it's a beautiful day. That's the upside.
Yeah, yeah, it's really, excuse me, it's really nice out here too. It's almost
Mhm.
70 degrees here. So,
Yeah, here too.
yeah, my son is gone with his family for a couple of hours, so he should be back home shortly. And that'll be the end of the, probably, winding down from the show. That'll be the end of the day.
Well, at least you had a little break too. A
Yes,
little break this weekend for a few hours at least.
yes, honey. And all I did was sleep, 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 sleep.
Mhm. I
Mm,
know the feeling. I was like, oh, I need to take a nap. And I was sitting up and like I was chatting with my man and so probably about 15 minutes before the show, I'm like I felt my eyes start getting heavy. I'm like, oh, I waited too long. So I know the feeling. But I'm gonna get to bed early tonight, so I'll get rested later. No
okay.
rest for the weary. But about this show though, about this title.
Yes.
Are black women worthy of marriage? I think this is going to be a good show. I think it will definitely be interesting. I can already, and I haven't even peeked in the chat, but hello to everybody who's already joined us. Thank you so much for your support.
But like she was saying, everybody, thank you so much for your support. I hope you guys are having a great weekend so far. Um, yeah, so how's everything going with you guys? How's the weekend going for you? I'm really on time to the complaint. Hey, Craig, the tech guy. You mean like deep fry the chicken and add some mozzarella, bake it? That's pretty easy.
I don't know what happened. I'm just talking. I must have accidentally clicked exit because I'm just running my mouth and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm not even on air. So
Water
what?
sniper, is my mic better now? They said my mic was muffled.
Was were they talking about yours or mine? They said yours.
I don't know, but can y'all hear me good now? Can you hear me good, Concrete?
I can hear you great. Can you hear me good? Am I coming across clear to you?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Well, maybe it's better. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But and I'm gonna speak closer into my mic, in case they were talking about me. But I was just speaking to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. As it pertains to this title, I think I know what the consensus will be regarding our topic question, at least as far as the men go. So, but I think it'll still make for some interesting dialogue. But what say you about our topic? What are your thoughts about our topic?
It's like if you are asking the question, are Black women worthy of marriage?
It's a hard question to ask and to really be honest about it because um, I don't think anybody's ready for marriage. And so it's, it's like something you get into and then you figure out like, oh shit, this is probably not what I thought it was going to be. This is not what it's cracked up to be. So I don't really know. I kind of feel like, I don't want to really say I'm on the fence about it because I'm not, but I don't really think that we're as ready for marriage as we think we are.
Well, so before we get off into it, I do want to say that the idea for the topic came from a comment that was made by none other than Roger. He is an antagonist, but he made a comment referencing, Black women not being worthy of marriage, and we kind of decided to do this as a topic. I do want to also say this. We understand that there are men and women of both groups that are not married for or not ready for marriage. So I know one of the common arguments that we'll probably get regarding the ladies, or the pushback, will be, it's the men that ain't ready for marriage too. We know that, but that's not what we're focused on today, because of the fact that men are the ones who propose. We're seeing there are less proposals, obviously, because there are less marriages. We're also seeing an increase in the exodus of Black men that are exiting the community and leaving the community. So therefore, I think that this question is very relevant, and it's an important question to ask, regardless of whether or not we agree on, what on whether or not black women are ready or worthy of marriage. It is still an important question to ponder. It's one of the questions that I think that's important when you're trying to do some introspection. Am I worthy as a Black woman or as a Black man? Whatever. But it's an important question, and we're gonna talk about it today. So we gonna get off into it as we do, and yeah.
So what is your answer to the question? Do you think Black women are worthy of marriage as a collective?
As a collective, do I think Black women are worthy of marriage? I think that as a collective, no. I don't think that Black women are worthy of marriage. However, it's not because I know you were saying how, people aren't ready for marriage until they get into it. I think that if you've sustained a long-term relationship, there's not going to be a whole lot of difference between that relationship and marriage. I know a lot of the fellas feel as though women change when they get married, or people change when they get married, and I've seen that. And I'm not saying that does not happen, but my reasoning is because I think that we as a group, collectively, we have a lot of work to do, internally. I think that, we have a lot of traumas that we haven't overcome. I think that we still need to take accountability for a lot of the actions that we are personally responsible for. We still need to be better at holding each other accountable, and we still need to stop uplifting mess. I go like on different social media platforms, and I engage in conversations with women about a variety of topics, and I see like some common themes amongst Black women, and a lot. I have to like admittedly say that as a group, I love my sisters. However, I think personally that Black women are okay, I'm not going to go into that just yet. I'll let you chime in, and then I'll come back with my commentary on why I don't think we as a collective are even ready for marriage, let alone worthy of it.
Yeah. I think we have a lot of things to overcome, a lot of healing, especially the traumas that a lot of women have experienced. So I think that there are a lot of things that need, like a lot of self-care needs to be had, really before a lot of us even consider marriage. A lot of therapy needed. Yeah, then I think a lot of the reasons for like why men don't propose anymore
Mm-hmm.
are the divorce laws. Um, Men don't really fare out as it pertains to marriage.
Mm.
You know, not at the end of one.
I'm sorry. Repeat that, Danny.
I said men don't really fare out of marriage. You know, they don't really get their
Oh.
fair deal as it pertains
Mm-hmm.
to marriage, especially you know at the end of one. Because most men don't
Right.
equate like them going to work, them taking care of a household, and then the woman, let's just say she was a stay-at-home wife or something,
Mm-hmm.
they don't really equate that to being like the same thing. I don't know any man who equates a woman staying at home managing a family like the same thing.
Right. And I think that, me personally, I think that it's a tough job when you have children to, be a stay at home mom. I think that, managing a household is not an easy feat. I know that most women that I know work outside the home and they manage a household, even those that are married and or have some sort of long-term relationship. But I do understand your point regarding guys not getting a fair shake. I when I s- and I have to agree with you. I do think that some of the information is exacerbated when it comes to black men because I don't know a ton of black men who are required to pay alimony and things of that nature, but overall I do still think that they like, what is the incentive for black men to marry? I think that's an important part of the question that we should be trying to answer along the way. But when I think of black women as a collective, I do have to admit that I see that black women are selfish. And I think that there is almost a movement that is masked as self-care that is encouraging more of the selfishness. I think that black women have been disloyal. I think that we're uncompromising. We're not trying to compromise. We want what we want and, the way we want it. And we don't even know what it is to be in a working relationship where you have to compromise with someone. In addition, I think that we're a bit disillusioned too regarding what marriage is. I think that we
Yeah.
don't understand like how much work marriage requires. I think that we do I think that we are idyllic about it and we think that it's how it looks on TV, and we don't realize that marriage is work. It's tough work, and it's I think that is another reason why a lot of marriages fail, because black women get into them and they don't realize how much work it's going to be. They don't realize that I'm not going to be put on this pedestal and spoiled like a child, that there are going to be standards and requirements that I have to adhere to, and we don't like it.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point because I think a lot of us do have like a fairy tale image in our head. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you get married, you get prepared for your big day, you're doing the wedding shopping, you get your
Mm-hmm.
dress and you get
Girl,
all
I've been there. I think most of us have, because I used to look at it in that way. Even though I'm not a proponent of state sanctioned marriage, I still wanted a ceremony, and I was all like, oh, thinking that it's gonna be the big dress, the big to do, and the big show that I'm putting on for everybody. Now, when I talk to my fiance, we're like, no, we're doing something very small, very intimate for our immediate family and a few close friends, and we're going to have a big reception, but like, I don't care about all that. I'm not trying to shell out $30,000 for a wedding.
girl, I thought that I would get married at 24, 25, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was dating a guy really heavily and we were really serious and he proposed and then
Mm-hmm.
he told me that he cheated on me.
Wow.
And I could not I couldn't deal with it. It was just like all my feelings for him kind of went out the window, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And so my grandmother, and I can remember my grandmother like, nah, certain things are going to happen, but you really need to gain this experience
Mm-hmm.
right now while you're a young lady, before you get pregnant and everything. And I was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking like, shit, I'm 25. I'm at the prime of my life. Why
Right.
am I gonna settle down with this fucking jerk for? Especially since he cheated on me, and I couldn't get past that.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Man, you are making a huge mistake. Certain things as a woman that you're really gonna have to learn how to get past." And I'm like, "Shit, grandma, that's a new day. I ain't gotta get past shit." He cheated on me. He's out. And
Right.
so it just kind of made me think. What's crazy is he ended up marrying the woman that he cheated on me with,
Oh, wow.
and they've been together for a long time. Yeah, they've been together for a while, but I don't necessarily think it was a happy, always
Right.
happy situation, because she never worked and she really didn't have any ambition or anything. And so it was like, I should have settled down with you. I wish I had really tried to convince you, but I was over it. I was, fuck that.
Yeah.
You cheated, you're out. And yeah. No regrets, though. No regrets.
Yeah, and I think most of us do. There was a point in time. Remember before my ex proposed, and I was probably about 24, and I'm like, okay, if he don't propose this year, it's over. And I'm kind of like thinking like, okay, this is your last chance to propose. And 2 years later, he proposed, and I was like, no. 3 years later, he proposed, and I didn't even want to marry him at that point. It was kind of like, I do think that we as women do this. A lot of things are for show. So, I think I wanted it initially to say, I have a husband. And I'm like, by the time we had gone through so much by that time, I was like, no, I'm good. I'm like, I didn't say that initially. I kept delaying it. And okay, well, we need to work on this first. So we need to work on this. And I knew in the back of my head, though, that I was kind of over the relationship, and, I was on my way out.
Yeah, I was definitely like, you know what? I'm young, I'm hot, my body was in the best shape of its life.
Like, Mary. And that, but you know what? That brings about a good point. When you say that, a lot of the men say we wait until we hit the wall before we even want to settle down. And the other narrative is that most Black women don't want to get married. We hear Black men say that on our show all the time, that Black women don't even want to get married. And I used to rebut that and push back against it, because I hear women say that they want to, but their actions don't line up with their words. Yeah, they say they want to get married, but then they are bypassing good brothers. You know what I mean? Yeah, they say they want to get married, but then at the same time, they're extremely selfish, and they have all these conditions for any man that enters their lives. And you know what I mean? So, saying it is one thing, but, what do your actions reflect?
Yeah, and I think me being 25, 26, and I never really, I don't know. It's like, I don't know if I would have I think I probably would have made a good wife, because my grandmother was a wife for a long time. My mother was a wife for a long time. And these were very domesticated women, real, handle your business in the house and stuff like that. But for a long time, I'm like, yeah, it probably wasn't for me at the time. Yeah, it wasn't for me at the time.
And I've always been marriage minded, and everybody, most of the women in my family, my great grandmother and great grandfather were together until my great grandfather passed away. Same thing with my grandmother and grandfather. My mother, she was married twice, but every woman in my family, maternal and paternal, have been married, except for I have one aunt that was not married but was in a long-term relationship. And most of the women in my family are either married or have been in relationships for 10 plus years. And we are, I'm marriage minded. I've always been in these long-term monogamous relationships. I just, as the older you grow, your thoughts regarding like, it's not as important as it once was, I guess, for me. Like I Not that I'm indifferent to it, but it's not like my number one goal. It's not as high on my list of priorities, I guess.
Shit. Well, let me not front to you, honey. Since I done hit this damn wall hard. Hey, boo. Hey, Curlin. How you doing, boo?
Mm-hmm. I also wanted to say, when I was talking about, Black women and as a collective, and I know there are women that are going to say, well, I'm not selfish. I compromise and da 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 da. I'm not talking about anyone personally. I'm just talking about collectively as a group, because these things don't necessarily apply to me. I mean, I'm a little spoiled, but I'm not like a lot of the character flaws that I listed don't necessarily apply to me. But as Black women, I think that we are hard to like, let alone love. So therefore, we have a lot to work on. Like, Black men don't like us as a collective. Like, we got, and it's not for them, even if we think about it for ourselves. Like, we have a lot of like I said, unresolved traumas, and that manifests itself in anxiety, and you having, being an angry Black woman and snapping on people because of you're on edge, or what I mean, like you have undiagnosed mental illnesses and issues and things that you're dealing with, and you're not even seeking treatment for it because we've normalized these behaviors within our community, and it's not even something that you're concerned about. But we should be working to be our best selves for ourselves, first and foremost.
Right. Yeah, honey. So as far as people not being ready, we kind of talked a little bit about what do you feel like would make a woman not ready for marriage?
Well, like, a lot of the traits that I would point back to the characteristics that I said. I feel like, to be marriage minded, you need to be willing to submit to your partner first and foremost. And when we say these things, oftentimes people will not argue the semantics of the word, but they'll bring up things that are obvious to me, like, oh, well, some men aren't worthy of submission. Well, I'm not talking about the men that aren't worthy of submission. You, as the woman, have the choice in who you allow into your life. So choose a man who's worthy. Choose a man who has good leadership qualities. But I think you need to be willing to submit and respect your partner. I think you need to be selfless. I think you need to be willing to sacrifice. Compromise is absolutely key. Like, you have to be willing to hear him out, and meet in the middle, and things aren't necessarily going to go your way. You have to be loving. You have to be and dare I say this, coachable, because look, I already know that's probably a trigger word. Look, I'm not saying that you need to change who you are, but you do need to be coachable. I had to modify some of my behaviors, with my current partner, like, just because every man is different. Even when you think about something as simple as, okay, let me get, because I try to break it down on an elementary level for us. Even as simple as maybe the way he likes his plate fixed. Maybe he don't like his bread touching the juice, and his, so when I say things like that, even if you think about it on a basic level, every man is different. So you have to learn what he likes, and be able to flex, how you do things to ensure that you're accommodating, your partner, and that's just what it is. But what do you think regarding the what traits do you think a marriage-minded person would need to have?
You spoke on something very, 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 very interesting, which is being coachable. Mm-hmm. A lot of us aren't coachable, and especially after we get past a certain age. With me being 40, mm-hmm. right? Sometimes it's hard as hell for somebody to tell me what to do when Carla knows.
I can imagine. Yes, I can imagine.
Concrete.
I'm just saying.
after you get a certain age and you have your own things and you've kind of established your life for yourself,
Mhm.
and a man comes into the picture and he likes things done this way and he wants certain things done this way and he wants a
Mhm.
certain meal cooked on Tuesdays and
Mhm.
stuff like that, or when it comes down to deciding where you're going to go for dinner, and or him telling you you need to even like as far as the YouTube shit, hey, you probably need to sit your ass down over here, and it's like when you get to a point like especially as a black woman after a certain age that's never been married, it's
Mhm.
hard as hell for us to be coached, and I
Right.
consider myself pretty submissive.
Have you ever lived with a man? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I just thought about that.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
And it was I was kind of raised old fashioned as far as my grandmother was concerned. And me and my baby daddy moved in with me at one point. And
Uh-huh.
so with that, it was a very immature relationship.
Mhm.
I always kind of had in the back of my head, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? And my
Mhm.
grandmother preached like, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? And that shit stuck in the back of my head. So
Mhm.
I could never say that I was fully invested while we lived together, because I kept thinking in the back of my mind, like, okay, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, I'm doing the things sexually
Mhm.
and shit, and we're living together. And um, it was like, this man doesn't really have an incentive to marry me because I'm
Mhm.
already doing the things that a wife would do. And so then
Right.
you hear it on the opposite side, like, well,
Mhm.
you need to know how to do these things in order to get the man to marry you and shit. But
What? Right. And in addition, I understand that concept. Why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free? But for me, it's important for like I don't feel like you get to see the true person that you are in a relationship with, unless you're around them for extended periods of time all day long. Like you got to be able to get on somebody's nerve when you have your own home and you're coming and you're visiting for a few hours. So for me personally, before I ever enter into a union, it's important for me to be able to live with you for even if it's just for 6 months or whatever. But I need to. I feel like I need to see how you communicate. I need to see how you work through conflict. So for me, it's important to I do things my own way though. So I know people think that that I know that's not orthodox, but for me, that's what works for me, and I want to be able to see how we resolve conflict together. Maybe you're going to trigger me to the point where I'm like, okay, I can't deal with this, and I'm not coming on here as if I'm not also a work in progress. I had to be coachable in order to get where I am in my relationship. Like in the beginning, my man probably was like, "Oh no," because I have to fight against my uh, innate desire to fall back into um, Western teachings. Everything that I've been indoctrinated to do. So um, he is I'll say he's pretty old fashioned. So which I am too, to an extent, but not as much as he is. So I had to modify behaviors, and it was a process for me as well. So when I'm saying you need to be coachable, I had to be coachable, in my relationship to get to where we are too. So
yeah, I think it's a huge adjustment, especially when a woman turns a certain age. Because when you get a certain age and you get set in your ways and shit, it's like, yikes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I agree with that. I am I'm pretty agreeable. My man probably would not don't doesn't believe that I'm as agreeable as I like to think, but I'm pretty agreeable. I'm pretty easy to get along with typically. But I do still think that, of course, the older I get, the more I'm like, okay, I ain't going for that. So yeah, the more set in your ways you become. So I agree with that. And the older you get, the less compromising you are. You know, you, yeah. So I agree with that.
Yep. Are you ready to open up the panel?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I see them down there taking little shots.
Uh-oh.
So Ray Alexander said, where can he get some of this free milk that we're talking about? I mean, from my understanding, it's it's a pretty regular thing within the Black community that we shack. You know, we don't marry, so shouldn't be too difficult to find. Go to any hood near you, you'll be able to get the free milk.
You can definitely get that.
Some whole milk.
Definitely pay that Section 8 housing fee. That $20 a month goes a long way.
Let them tell it, yeah. Pay that $20 a month. You can move in, sir. What you know about that?
Get you some what's the housing called?
What?
No, but there's a
projects.
HUD. You can get housing, honey.
HUD is a government, I mean, not a government, but a voluntary organization. They build homes, I thought. Oh, like there is an organization that is like over housing and urban development is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's an acronym. You're right.
Yeah. Hey, Complex.
All right.
Hey, what's going on? Happy Sunday.
Hey, Complex. Happy Sunday to you too.
Happy March 1st. Happy